Hey, what's up? This is Chosen. Happy Saturday and a good weekend to you. I am going to be getting you caught up on what you need to know as we head into next week for Raid Shadow Legends. We'll touch on the next login champion because I haven't officially talked about my thoughts on that champion, so we'll cover that. We've also got an out of the normal time slot CVC, so it's important to keep that in mind, and we'll just generally get you caught up on the scene for Raid Shadow Legends, so let's get into it. Alrighty, so obviously, I already did a dedicated video on this 10X, but there is a 10X going on currently, and I think for 90-something% of you, it's going to make sense to hold on to your shards for the most part. With the caveat of getting Umbral or Ugo would be a super good champion to add to your collection, especially if you are an early to mid-level account. And I wanted to touch on the daily login champion situation. As some of you know, once your account gets to the end game, let me go ahead and put myself away for a second. Once you get to the end game, you'll get this 271 plus login reward system. On the bottom left there, you can see the days indicated. And then over here, you can see it says HyperX fragments, and we're going to be slowly acquiring Cleo as a champion in game. But after we acquire Cleo, we actually know who the next champion is going to be that is added to the daily login rotation. And we have gotten official confirmation that the next login champion will be this epic from the Demon Spawn, a new addition to the raid roster, Scion. And the first thing you'll notice is, wait a minute, this is an epic champion, not a legendary. And Plarium is telling us behind the scenes that their plan as of right now is to rotate the rarity of the champion. So maybe they'll do an epic this time. And then after the login kind of surpasses and most people have gotten that, it'll switch to another legendary, maybe a new one. HyperX was a new legendary. Scion is a new epic, so the next one might be a legendary. But anyway, the point is they're going to rotate. It's not always going to be a legendary, and it's not always going to be an epic. Then just to give you a quick rundown of my thoughts on this champion, if you have not looked into this yet, Scion is going to have an A1 with a 30% booked up chance of placing a block active skills for one turn, which for an A1, it's not that bad for an epic champion. Then we've got an A2 that can book to a 3-turn cooldown. It's going to be a single hitter that places a block buffs and a heal reduction for 2 turns. That's a little bit underwhelming because it's a single target. And then the A3 is going to be remove all debuffs from this champion, so it'll be a self-cleanse, and then do an AoE that we can book to a 3-turn cooldown that places an increased attack buff and an increased crit damage buff on the champion for 1 turn, but unfortunately it's after attacking, so a lot to kind of go with there. It is an AoE. It is booked to a 3-turn cooldown. I wish the buffs would come into place because they're only self buffs. It's not an AoE. I wish that would come into place before he did the AoE attack. And then there is a passive here that says enemies under block active skills, block buffs, or heal reduction, which are 3 debuffs that he is going to place himself. If something is affected by that, it cannot decrease Scion's turn meter. Then he gets a aura here that is going to increase ally crit rate in dungeons by 24%, which is pretty meh. Then for the base stats, the base HP is super low. The attack is pretty decent. The defense is about average for an attack champion, but still low. It's under 1,000. The speed's decent for an epic at 102. The crit damage is actually kind of weird at 60. We don't see that very often. If I remember correctly, it's usually either 50% for support champions, like a Duchess or something like that, and then it'll be like 63% for heavy DPS damage champions like Trunda. But there are other champions that do have the 60% crit damage, like Allure, for example, so it's not like it's exceedingly rare, but it is a little bit interesting because I think most of the time the crit damage is either 50 or 63. So for Scion, I think the most interesting part is going to be synergies with the Incarnate passive here, because this is stuff that he can do himself, and then this will probably come into play in some sort of situation versus certain bosses, versus certain Hydra heads, where it could be super handy to have him just permanently resist all turn meter effects that are negative towards him. So I'm sure there'll be some sort of situation where you can use this guy, but In general, I'm a little bit underwhelmed by him. It is worth noting that he is a free champion. Once your account gets to a certain playtime of having access to the daily login rewards, of the plus side of things after you've finished everything else in your raid journey, he is a free champion just for logging into the game, so he's never going to be like insane Platinum Arena bonkers. But I do think he could use a little bit of love, like at least on the A3, let him place the increased attack and crit damage before he does it. I think that'd be a super cool help, and it's not like that would break him or make him overpowered or something. And maybe a little bit of love. The A1 is, I'm okay with that, but maybe on the A2, make this book to like add one more book to make it a 2-turn cooldown or something. It's only a single target, so I don't think that would break him either. And I think that would kind of just buff him up to being a little bit more viable and hyped up. Because right now, I would probably give this like a 5 out of 10 in terms of design. And if they made a couple simple changes like that, it would quickly go up to like an 8.5 or so. Then as we transition to the general stuff going on in game right now, the obvious big thing is going to be CVC coming at a weird time. It's going to be launching on a Sunday. They have 90-something% of the time done Tuesdays, and then they did try out a weekend once where they had one launch on a Saturday, I think. So them launching one on a Sunday is super weird and out of the ordinary. So go ahead and keep in mind that launching tomorrow is going to be a good time to synergize spending your books or your Great Hall upgrades and stuff like that. Maybe claiming some champions that you have earned the fragments for. I'm saving Vildrax and Vlad and stuff like that for opportunities during a CVC when I can double dip and get those clutch points for acquiring new champions without having to pull shards. And then for the holiday Christmas season fusion, that should be starting in about exactly 10 days. And this will be the third iteration that Raid has done a holiday season fusion. The first one back a few years ago was for Tormund the Cold. And then last year's holiday season fusion was Pixneal. So I don't know what, we haven't got any official teasers behind the scenes or anything, so I have no clue what is coming up for this year's holiday fusion. Obviously they're going to do one, and they typically launch in the middle of December. So somewhere around like December 10th to December 15th, in that window, we should be getting the next holiday fusion launched. And as soon as we know anything behind the scenes, I will make sure and forward that to you and give you full context as to my thoughts on the fusion in terms of how its kit is looking and stuff like that. Also worth mentioning that we've got some pretty crazy drop frenzies coming up where they buff the drop rate of a certain set, where they'll do like a 2x chance to get a set. Like right now, they are doing Retaliation in the Ice Golem. Now, typically this is not a very sought after set that people are really going to be grinding hard and going crazy, spending a bunch of energy on, but worth noting that it is live currently in the Ice Golem. But the ones I want to talk about are going to be the ones coming up after that, because on Tuesday, December 7th, we are getting word they're going to be launching Shadowkin accessories buffed up in the Spider's Den, which will be a good opportunity to go ahead and grind up some good accessories for the newest faction in the game that you probably have the least amount of accessories for. But it gets even spicier because they are going to be doing another speed drop set in the Dragon starting on December 10th, which is going to be a Friday. So next weekend, going to be a good opportunity to get your hands on a bunch of that speed gear. And I know people are always going hard in the paint when we got a speed like artifact buffed up event for the Dragon. And then after that, they're going to be doing a Savage set event in the Fire Night starting on Monday, December 13th. So some big opportunities to grind some of the best sets in the game. Speed and Savage are two extremely valuable sets. And just to refresh your memory, those are going to be starting on Friday, December 10th for the Speed set in the Dragon. And then on Monday, December 13th for the Savage set in the Fire Night. So here in the next 7 to 10 days, you're really going to want to prep a bunch of energy to go after some of the best gear in the game. And then to get you caught up on the tournaments and events going on right now, like we talked about with the Retaliation Drop Frenzy set, that is going to be coinciding with the Ice Golem tournament that is going on. But it's a normal tournament. You don't have to feel bad about skipping it or anything, because A, the Retaliation set is not that amazing or sought after. B, the Ice Golem is not one of the best dungeons to grind. It's probably the least in terms of the Dragon and the Fire Knight, and then the Ice Golem in terms of something you'd want to spend thousands of energy on. So really the only upside to that is typically typically, if you are in the market for really wanting to go after relentless gear, the Ice Golem is usually the easiest opportunity for you to win. It's the most realistic opportunity to finish up here in the top 2 because people aren't usually going to be wailing out and going super crazy. There is also a tag team arena tournament, but this is par for the course. Nothing to really take note of. And then also the classic arena is the same thing. You're going to want to make sure and be active though, because there is 10 core hammers up for grab, and it is tough to collect those because there's not usually a whole lot of opportunities to go ahead and farm them up or get crazy amounts of them. We've also got dungeon divers coinciding with the Ice Golem tournament, so you will double dip a little bit. Again, not a bad idea to at least get to 3,000 here and scoop up core hammers whenever you can. And then obviously the summon rush is coinciding with that 10x that we covered earlier in the video. It's just going to be synergizing if you're willing to pull shards and go after some of those champions in the 10x. Then as we dive into the offers, something fun that we went over on a stream yesterday that I've got pulled up right here is my good friend Scratch, another raid content creator in the scene. He actually pulled over 700 void shards during the 10x for Hegemon, and you can see here we plugged that in for fun just to see what the value would be. It's like $1,700 worth of void shards, and he did not get a Hegemon. So just a good opportunity to give you a refresher course on how you can really get hoodwinked on these 10x events if you're not careful, because even if you go that crazy on it, sometimes it just does not work in your favor. So F's in the chat for Scratch. We love you, buddy. But for this offer here, we'll plug in the 50, and then we're going to be getting 500 gems and 14 void shards. Boom, with 500k silver, and boom. Okay, so 1.96. Yeah, if you see the purchase limit of 5, you already know it's not going to be that great. So not a recommend from me. Monthly mini mix, pretty normal regeneration. $10 for rare regeneration gear is not going to happen. And then a pack string. Okay, so we've got 20 ancients for 30. Ooh, yeah. The one sacred's going to be like $30 or so. It's going to be a complete meme. So yeah, these 2 and 3 are going to be awful. Sorry, you can't see this. Let me put this away for a second. But yeah, 2 and 3 are going to be awful value probably. Because anytime they have sacred shards, they're horribly priced in my opinion. This one's not bad. Number 4 is probably going to be pretty good. And then that's like what sacred shards probably should be. So because you can't get void champions, and 90-something% of the time it's going to be a 4-star chicken. So yeah, I would say that's, yeah, it's not looking like to me that this this string pack is going to be a route worth going for 90-something% of you. So alrighty, that will do it for what we needed to get covered to keep you caught up heading into the weekend here for Raid. And I'm going to head on over and do a quick stream. If you would like to stop by and say hi, there will be a link down below in the pinned comment indicating if I am still live or not. And then I'm also going to be working on, I know a few of you out there are trying Awaken Chaos Era for the soft launch. I am going to be working really hard to get a tier list out there for you to, so if you do get started on that game, to maybe have some sort of a semblance of the champions and how they're kind of viewed in the community. I'm working hard on getting that out, making it look nice and fancy, and then sending that out to you. So I'm going to try to get that out today at the latest tomorrow. So lots to work on. I may have to do a short stream today. Falling behind on takeovers and tier lists and everything that I need to get caught up on. So we're going to at least do a quick one so I can say hi to you guys for an hour or two. And again, that link will be down below. Otherwise, have a great rest of your weekend. As always, thank you for watching. Peace.